Good evening. I'm Professor McCoy. Welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance. I am a tiny bit early tonight, but I figure since I can be, for once, why not? I figure I'll jump right into things a little bit early, at least get loaded in, lollygag around the ruins of Skalitz as Theresa just a little bit, because I don't exactly want to finish things just yet. I do want to at least give everybody a chance to get here, because 5 minutes until I'm officially supposed to start, so I'll just lurk around the dark, torrid ruins of our beloved Skalitz. Anyway, though, we have to finish things up with Theresa's story. My assumption with this, and I could be wrong, but my assumption with this is that she is about to go into the town of Skalitz, meet the troops of what is it, Sir Hanish? Yeah, Sir Hanish, I believe. No, not Sir Hanish. Oh, the guy from Talmberg. Troops from Talmberg. Basically, she's about to go and meet the troops of Talmberg to go and rescue. Ooh, interesting. To go and rescue Henry from those bandits. The thing that we did on like the second or third live stream. But I assume we're about to see it from the other perspective, which should be pretty darn cool. If not, I don't know what we're going to be doing in the town of Skalitz. This is the day after the attack, which was when Henry went back. I'm honestly well, no, I'm not surprised, because that would have been really difficult to coordinate properly. But I'm almost a little bit surprised that we didn't actually see Henry returning at some point. I almost would have expected that. I almost would have expected someone to for us to see Henry riding on in. This is up where the mine is. Yeah, we've been just about everywhere on this map. I mean, we haven't gotten all the way over here to Rovna, but I don't expect that you can. Wonder if I can go over here. Because they're still living here. Up there in the corner. Let's see. Let's see if I can do it. I kind of doubt it. I assume that it's going to prevent me from going that far. Or it's going to make me turn back or something like that. Or Theresa's going to say something like, I must return to Skalitz. There may be survivors in town or something. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. Catholic Phoenix says, A Woman's Lot is my favorite DLC. I like how at the start you can fight Henry in a duel. You get an achievement. You get an achievement if you kick his booty. I did. I very much did. Poor Henry. Poor Henry. I hurt his poor hand. How embarrassing. Yeah, no, this is a good one. This is a good one. I think you were the one who told me this quite a long time ago, when I was almost going to accidentally do this DLC, like 20 streams ago or something. I think you were the one who told me, hold off, because it's actually really difficult. Well, if you, gosh, excuse me.
I can't go yet. I have to have a look in Skalitz first.
Ah, yes, I see. Okay. That's what I thought would happen. Anyway, though, yeah, it was actually very, very difficult. Just because Theresa is naturally not exactly an accomplished combatant. Ah, man. Phoenix says, Theresa starts off as a stronger character than Henry. If we're allowed to play her for the rest of the game, she'd become an absolute bandit butchering beast. I mean, to be fair, Henry is already an absolute bandit butchering beast. I think by this point I have Henry to max level. If not, he's one away from max level. Several of his attributes are max level, including his swords and I think defense. So, no, he is an unstoppable force of destruction. But I get what you're saying. I absolutely get what you're saying. I do think that, like Theresa does start off. She does start off with a little bit more skill than Henry has. But still, I guess I'll take that, I suppose. But still, only a little bit more than Henry has. Here we go. And man, it becomes very difficult when you actually start encountering combat. Like you said, it's a much different experience. Playing the same game as Theresa is a cool way to turn the game from an RPG into survival horror. Yeah, a lot of it was very survival horror. It was horror. Right? Yeah. Speaking of the horrific, walking around the ruins of your town, surrounded by your butchered neighbors. Is that Henry? Oh no, those are the that's Runt or whatever.
Come here.
The guy going after Henry, isn't it? Oh, they're gonna kill Tinker, aren't they? Or is he gonna run off?
Fuck off! Go on, go on, go on, go! Fuck's sake!
Ooh.
Rushing to find this fucking place.
Who's that? Just some looter? Yeah, at this point, Tinker was almost all she had left, too. It's not like it's more tragic than the death of her brother, because man, that was rough. But the fact that he was the last that she had, the only thing she had left at home, her family, that gets worse. The good or the boy, the bigger the sad. No, I don't think the good or the boy, the bigger the sad, because her brother's death was worse. Because it was the connection between the two of them, and he was not a good boy. Her brother was kind of a lout.
Henry?
Yeah, that's Henry.
Right, you whole sons. I've had just about enough of you.
But what are you gonna do?
Hey, go fuckers!
That's what you're gonna do. Okay. This strikes me as a bad idea.
I don't know what to say.
You don't have to say anything. You've been through it yourself.
Jeez.
I know you understand.
And then, of course, thankfully, the men of Sir Divish, that's his name. Then they just suddenly come up behind her. That sure was lucky. Man, I really thought she was going to get revenge on the guy who killed Tinker.
There's something else I'd like to ask. Remember how we were sword fighting together? The next morning, Ma scolded me on account of that scratch on my hand.
Oh, dear. Sorry about that.
That's all water under the bridge now. I never told her it was you who did it. I just wish you could have covered my back too. She was angry that I was at sword training instead of working in the forge, and she said you told her.
Well, yeah, she did.
Your pa and Stevor
gosh.
were really stealing from the royal mines. Jesus.
I don't think even Fritz and Matthew would take that kind of chance. And there's not much that pair won't do for an easy groschen.
Yeah. In a way, I can understand that Pa did it for us, but it was really irresponsible. You won't tell anyone, will you?
I won't, I
No, of
promise.
course not.
So what happened to the silver?
Pa handed it over, as always, to that slimy fellow, and he took it away. What happened to it then, I don't know.
It's gone, basically. I'm assuming that this is also, there's some connection here to what's going on right now. Oh my god, what is with the lag here? This isn't good. Okay, we're kind of... No, we're not. This is really bad. What's going on here? Are you guys getting a bunch of lag? Or is that just in OBS for me? I'm not sure what's going on. This is very strange. Hold on. It looks smooth on my replay. So I don't know. Maybe it's just my OBS display is screwy. Because I'm not showing any drop frames or anything. So maybe it's just my display. Anyway, if it is like lagging a bunch, do let me know, because the game is not lagging for me. My replay is not lagging. It's just my live feed of my camera is really laggy for some reason. I have no idea why. That's very strange. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry about the technical stuff. So Phoenix said she's going to distract them long enough for Chad Robard to arrive and turn the Horsons into ground beef. Not all of them. If you recall, Runt escaped long enough for Henry to turn him into ground beef at Pribyslavitz. So not all of them. Some of them managed to survive the encounter. The big guy in particular.
Your pa really wanted to marry you off to Master Tobias?
Yes.
Be first.
Can you believe it?
And
Oh, sorry.
have you spoken to Master Fayfar since the raid?
I haven't. Either he's lost interest, or he's forgotten about me. Not that I'm complaining. Uncle Peshek would be happy to marry me off too, especially if there was something in it for him. I'm glad that's in the past.
Aye, I don't blame you.
Well, what about old Henry here? Old, what's the term? Oh gosh, bailiff. Old bailiff Henry of Pribyslavitz. I mean, to be fair, he kind of needs a house there, which we'll work on that. Not all brigands were slaughtered. That's technically true. Yes.
So Johanka and Matthias finally got together. Well, if it hadn't been for everything that happened afterwards, who knows? They could be headed for the altar. But that little intrigue
A
with the
lot has
dogs,
happened since then.
I never thought you'd stoop to stealing.
It was all in a good cause. Johanka would never have plucked up the courage to talk to him otherwise, and in the end her harebrained scheme actually worked. Who knows? Maybe the two of them will get together again.
Unfortunately, I don't think so. Given what else we know about them. Why can't I tell Theresa about that? I wish I could inform her of the events of the other DLCs.
Bianca told me something about your little expedition to the woods. She was flaunting that ring all day. I was worried for a while that she had some other suitor who gave it to her.
No. Unless you can count a magpie.
I have it. It's right here. As it so happens. Actually, is he still wearing it? I forget. He might not have been.
Going back to help the survivors. That was very brave of you. When I went back to Skalitz, I met no one but footpads and cutthroats. If you hadn't come along, I doubt I'd be here to tell the tale.
You know what our parish priest always used to say? Without Christian charity, we'd all soon be dead. I couldn't just leave you all to your fate,
By
could
the
I?
will of God.
Any good Christian would have done the same.
Well, I'm not so sure. Not everyone has your courage. Did you go back to Skalitz again? To bury your pa and your brothers?
Yes, along with some more of our neighbours. We had an escort from the Ratai garrison, with Sir Hanish's kind permission.
Where are they buried?
Sammy's buried near the mines. He didn't like the mines. But his grave is on the hill, where I used to meet him for lunch.
Oh.
He loved it there. I know it's not consecrated ground. But what could I do?
God will understand. I buried Ma and Pa under the linden tree by our house. It's what they would have wanted.
Yes. Father and Stibor are buried in the churchyard in Rovna.
Once things settle, we'll be able to go back and pay our respects. And get the priest to bless their graves.
That counts.
I have no more questions.
That counts.
Thank
you for telling me about everything, Theresa. I know it isn't easy to talk about.
It helped to talk to someone who knows what it's like. Thank you. I'm glad you came out of it in one piece.
Yeah, so am I. And I'm glad you did too.
By the way, Henry, I have something for you. The soldiers gave it to me when we brought you from Skalitz. I meant to give it to you earlier, but, you know, it belonged to one of the Skalitz garrison. They wanted me to have it for being brave, but I hope I'll never have use for such a thing.
Oh? How come? What is it?
It's a shield with the Skalitz crest. I'd like you to have it, to protect you, and as a keepsake from home.
Sure. Thanks, Theresa. Thanks
I'll
for
put it here in
everything.
my pocket. Nice. Very nice. I like it. I like it a great deal. Anyway, yeah. So we're back to good old Henry's story. That was quite a lot. That was a big, first of all, that was a big side quest. I don't know if I even can do this one anymore, the Miracles one. Something may have gone poorly here. But yeah, let's go back to Pribyslavitz. Let's get back onto Shadowmere. Hold on. Let me take off my headgear, and then maybe we'll just go out on a nice outing with Theresa. Just, for a nice evening.
I bet you even sleep in that armor, eh?
Yeah, sometimes.
Wouldn't you like to take a stroll somewhere?
It's a bit late now. We'd
Oh,
be coming
never
home
mind.
in the dark. Another time, all right?
Okay. All right. Anyway. In that case, it is getting late, isn't it? And I definitely need to sleep. So let's actually just go and sleep. I have any drinks just for that sweet, sweet drinking experience that is worth less than 5 nourishment. No. Okay. Oops. Okay. Till, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. will do. 7 hours of sleep is wonderful. Okay. So, unfortunately, I don't have yesterday's class lecture edited just yet. I was actually quite busy yesterday, last night, and today, as it happens, and so I've been a little bit behind on editing and grading. So I've got a lot of that to do tomorrow into Friday, etc. So I hopefully should have it edited and uploaded sometime in the next few days. So that's something certainly to look forward to. I certainly greatly enjoyed the lecture. It was a lot of fun. It was a sort of atypical discussion for an ethics class. We talked about the basics of praxeology. We read an article by Murray Rothbard, which is something that I love talking about just because I just absolutely love Rothbard as more as a philosopher than anything else. Because, I'm more of a philosopher than anything else. So there's a lot that Rothbard has to do and a lot that he has to say, which is highly relevant to my own interests as a philosopher, primarily interested in metaphysics and ethics. And this is something that from this text, which is from a chapter from a book he published on basic economic theory, which goes into the methodology of praxeology. That is the study of human action as the basis for Austrian economic theory. This was, I think, a brilliant explanation of the significant conceptual and methodological overlap between sort of Austrian economic theory and therefore things like libertarian legal theory that he also puts forward, and classical Aristotelian Thomism, which is a combination that not a lot of people where are they, boy? A combination of that not a lot of people will want to take all that seriously. A lot of people.
Blood will go weak at the knees, have you?
No.
Hide from me. Ow. Come on here, lily liver. What's the matter? Come on! Torva! Fucker!
Dear God! That was a nasty hit. That was a very nasty hit. Anyway, got him. Well, here you go. Anyway, I would almost go so far as to just generally refer to Austrian school economics as Thomistic economics, because it follows the Thomistic assumptions and, well, not assumptions so much as premises. The Thomistic assumptions and premises having to do with primarily having to do with human action perfectly, like 100%. It is an absolute one-to-one perfect correspondence, and it is absolutely deliberate on the part of the theorists involved, notably Rothbard. Rothbard is a Thomist. Like specifically, he is a Thomist. That is his general philosophical outlook. He's an Aristotelian sort of Thomist as well, and so he has a lot of respect for that school of thought. So part of the point that I would really need to make here is that, yeah, most people, tend to think that Thomism, that generally speaking, the thought of Aquinas, and especially of modern neo-Thomists, is at odds with things like economics in general, Austrian economics in particular, and especially with libertarian legal theory. People think of Aquinas as sort of an arch statist, both, statist Thomists and anti-Thomistic libertarians both think in these terms, and I argue, of course, they couldn't be more wrong. Phoenix says, White's blood off sword. As I was saying before, I was interrupted by these rude, terribly rude brigands who interrupted my discussion of peaceful and ethical economics, and as it applies to ethical science. Well, yeah, whatever. It was their fault. They ambushed me. They were very, very stupid to do so. They effectively committed suicide by night. Anyway, so my point, though, right, is that that a lot of people find this idea abhorrent. People don't want to think that that modern libertarian legal theory and modern economic theory at all, but in particular economic theory, which lends itself so clearly to libertarianism, has its deep embedded roots in Thomas Aquinas. But I insist that absolutely it does, and this couldn't be clearer if you read any Rothbard, but in particular his really basic economic theory, like this essay on praxeology. It's snare. Humans, huh? Okay, let's handle this. Get him.
Most megkapod! Ezt kiélvezem! Yeah.
Ooh, there's a bunch of you.
Nesze! Yeah. A picsába! Nocsak! Na mi van? Gyere!
Jesus. I'm a little rusty.
Hova akarod? Csak...
There we go. Jesus. That was rough. Like I said, I'm a little rusty. Man. It's only been a... Well, actually, that's not true. I was about to say it's only been a week.
Hit them! Az is!
Ooh, ow.
Jól van!
No. Get away from my town. Oof. Okay, I need some potions. Okay, what's he got here? Akaton, need a bandage maybe. Actually, I don't. I forgot. I'm not playing Theresa anymore. I don't need a bunch of bandages. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Can always use one more bandage. Spurs, handy. Okay, that's all. What's the rest of these bastards? Give the sausage to good old Mutt here. He needs a nice treat after all that.
Look what I've got for you. You'll love this.
Now, part of the reason people don't want to associate Aquinas with libertarianism is because so many Thomists are often what are today things like radtrads. And I will say, modern radtrads tend to unquestioningly take the political and economic theory of people like like Chesterton and Belloc. the sort of, broadly speaking, distributists. They tend to take that seriously and almost as if it were doctrinal, which of course could not be further from the truth. It is. I actually need to make a solid argument for this someday, but I would probably argue that distributism is not only not required by anything like Catholic social doctrine, but it probably contradicts Catholic social teaching. Because quite frankly, it is essentially an attempt to amalgamate socialism with Catholic legal theory, or with Catholic social teaching. And we all ought to know that those two things are intrinsically incompatible. So, no, you can't just say, that, you know, we're gonna try and grind off the rough edges of socialism by integrating it with Catholic social teaching. No, you can't just integrate it with Catholic social teaching, because the two are intrinsically contradictory. There is no combination of the two which makes the least bit of sense. So no, you can't just kind of have something that closely resembles socialism in a lot of essential aspects, while also respecting Catholic social teaching. You can't, because that's what distributists universally try to do. So it doesn't work. It's a very bad series of ideas, very dangerously bad series of ideas, and it is not the natural consequence of the big T traditional ideas, things like the thought of Thomas Aquinas, but not exclusively. Because those, the thought of Thomas Aquinas, particularly the ethical thought of Thomas Aquinas, which is the relevant aspect, rather than the social thought, because the social thought was frankly stunted. It is largely, I would say that the biggest problem, right, with, not the biggest problem, the biggest connection that they miss, that the distributists at all miss. So I guess the biggest problem with their perception of things like libertarian legal theory, and of praxeology, and quite frankly of economics in general, what they tend to miss is that it is entirely derived from fundamental axioms concerning the nature of human action, all of which are fully and completely accepted by Thomists, to the point where most of them were originated from Thomists, and those that weren't originated from Thomists were originated from Aquinas, and the ones that weren't originated from Aquinas were originated from Aristotle. So it's all in the tradition. Phoenix says the distributists sadly didn't take the anarcho-monarchy pill. I recommend YouTubers like the I reckon YouTubers like the distributist don't like the neo-libs and think they have to make their own socialism to defeat them. Yes, that's correct. Also, I will forever insist, that neoliberal is simply a term of abuse. It has no stable meaning. It is just a term used by, reactionaries who don't like some particular group or school of thought and want to paint it with a nasty brush. It's used by communists who think exactly the same thing about, don't think, they feel exactly the same thing about somebody. It's just, it doesn't actually mean anything, which is unfortunate. It's purely a term of abuse, because it doesn't have any stable meaning. There's no one who defends neoliberalism, like, as such. Like, even if you ask Hillary Clinton or somebody like that, are you a neoliberal? She would say, I wouldn't use that term, or something like that. Something like Weasley and Harpy-ish like that, but she would still not defend the title neoliberal. Whereas I'll defend libertarian, I'll defend anarchist, I'll defend ANCAP, capitalist, anarcho-monarchist. Any of these any of these terms, I'll usually defend. But of course, I have a clear, careful definition of what that term means, such that I will defend it. You won't find that for neoliberalism. Neoliberalism just basically means some broadly modern theory of political economy. Let's put it that way. That I happen not to like. That's all neoliberalism means, because you'll hear like radical conservatives and radical leftists all decrying it, and no one knows what it means because it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I do think that you're right, that people like the distributist and people like, oh gosh, what's his name? Heck Off Kami, I think, at least was his channel name. He does the same kind of thing, basically. Where you'll find a lot of right-wingers do this, is like, we need socialism for us so we can defeat the socialists. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. The reason socialism is bad is because it's ineffective, and it's unethical. It's both. So you shouldn't be taking it on as your own thing. Stop it.
Good day, Master Bailiff.
God be with you. What's the trouble?
Lame Agatha, that old crone who lives on the edge of the village.
What's she done to you?
Well, I thought you should
John
know.
Doyle, that's it.
She's
Yeah, thank
getting
you.
mixed up in the herb woman's trade and selling folk all kinds of ointments and potions.
What's wrong with that?
It's all a swindle and a cheat. She ought to be burned as a witch.
Well, she's not a witch.
What do you mean? It's a swindle.
Well, if
Because
it's a
those
swindle,
mixtures
she's
of
not a
hers
witch.
don't work. It's nothing but plain water with herbs and pork lard.
So it's not witch's brew she's selling, just ordinary herbs.
Exactly,
fine.
the swindler. But
That's fine,
she casts spells too, I can tell you that.
Come on now.
Well, I suppose she did something to you, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
She X'd my hens and now they won't lay. And she put a spell on her own so they lay double.
Spells and witchcraft. That's a very serious accusation.
Phoenix says Heck Off Kami was the name of his show. Oh, okay. Which I've liked a lot of. I liked a lot of that. He said his content is junk food for right wing youths. Fun to consume, but probably not healthy. That's probably true. Like I did enjoy it. I enjoyed a lot of his stuff, especially a lot of his like his history deep dives. Which, as a somewhat of an historian myself, he got a lot of things that, if not wrong, certainly shallow. But he's got a great presentation style, and he does point out things that are otherwise not pointed out too often, even on the right. So you know what? All right, fine. He's like a full color, well dressed version of Razor Fist in that regard. Like Razor Fist does great historical research, and he has that same really drive it home presentation style. It's a little bit different. He's a little less like, I don't know, 1950s era polished, although for some reason clean shaven, whereas John Doyle isn't. But whatever. No more incense? Really? That bad? All right. Already? Only been a half an hour. Oh, do you want to open the other window? That might help as well. The other window in there is, I don't know if it's open or not. It's nice outside, if you're wondering. Anyway, it's vaguely nice outside. It's in the mid-60s here, which is great for here, because Florida. Anyway, though, yeah, it's, I think, like I said, I think that if you actually take the basic principles of human action, and you'll find this in the lecture, because I go through a bunch of these examples as well, once that's up in the next few days, like I said. I go through a bunch of examples of things, of free market principles, broadly speaking, that we can, and economic principles in general, that we can simply derive from the understanding of human action that we already have from Aristotle and Aquinas. We don't need to add like weird Enlightenment principles or anything like that. We don't need to add Immanuel Kant, which is what Ludwig von Mises did, an earlier almost founder, but certainly adherent to the Austrian school. No, Rothbard basically just rederives all of this entirely from Thomistic assumptions, which is just spectacular. He does a great job of it. And you know what? I think he's spot on. I really do. I think he misses a couple of things in a couple of places, but almost entirely with respect to his like positive legal theory, not even his sort of abstract theoretical stuff. It's his concrete legal theory. He messes some things up, like his view of children. That's off. Basically, he views children as property until they gain independence, which is obviously wrong. But it's obviously wrong to the point where, given his priors, he should have realized that was obviously wrong. But he failed to, right? It was a failing on his part, not on the theory's part, in other words. At least I would argue. Following Tom Woods, who argues basically that. Anyway. And he knew Rothbard. I certainly did not. I didn't start reading him until after he died, sadly.
What kind of ointments and potions are you talking about?
Oh, you know, potions for an aching head, women's pains, and herbs to make cows give more milk.
Okay. Fine. There's no witchcraft.
I reckon the only thing that's going on here is that you're a nasty, envious creature who condemn her own neighbour over a few eggs.
What? I would never. What do you take me for?
I'm not going to waste another minute on you.
You call that justice? Next time I'll go straight to the bishop.
I mean, okay. Wait. Do I now have a village herbalist? Is that what's up? Or can I, like, officially get one? Is that how that works? I don't know. Or was it a quest? Hold on. Was it a quest? No, it's not. No. I really want to try and finish this one. Yes, she is. Oh my god, yeah, perfect analogy, Phoenix. That is a medieval Karen. Not that much has changed over the last 500 years, 600 years. Yeah, actually, it's been over 600 years since this takes place. Think about it. What do we got in here? 4,500. That is not enough. Okay. Our income is 1,200 a day. So I could spend some random time just derping around for a while. Get some good income. Oh, wait, no more incense. Sorry, I was about to put more. Let me know if it clears up, and let me know if I can put some more in. Let me know. Still need to do the church repairs. Could do the rat house, but that's going to really eat into my income a lot. And it's a lot of money. The church is built. Could do the altar, could do the frescoes. It's not actually going to help me. It's going to help my population, which is okay. It's not going to help my income. It's very important. This is what we definitely need to do, both of these things. We can do the altar first, of course. Okay, we got the drying shed. Right? Oh, bakery. Oh, that's why. No, we have the smokehouse that's built. Stables built. Saddler's equipment built. Right? Yeah. Can't build the guardhouse. Traders is all set. Tavern. We can put the brewery. We can put the dice games. The brewery is going to increase our income quite a bit. By 300. Dice games by 200. Actually, the dice games is that's pretty good income. Income to cost ratio. 1500. All right, now let's focus on the church. Things we actually have to do. The altar.
I've decided what to build.
Yeah, that's important. More important, I would say.
Good choice. Come with me.
Okay. Okay.
We're going to build here?
Right here.
I need to clean
Ready
off
to
my
start?
armor. Let's
I'm
go.
ready.
Most
I'll
of
just
our
quickly
money.
check again that we have everything we need. We've still got the means. We'll get stuck in then.
Let's go. I wish that few days later actually got me income, but it doesn't. Ah, wonderful. Oh, fantastic. Trinitarian triptych and everything. Is that Trinitarian? Let me go have a look. I mean, there's Christ and an angel. There's the Clear of the Holy Spirit. Is that Sir Divish? That's Sir Divish. And oh my God, is that Henry? Is that supposed to be Henry? That is, isn't it? Oh my God, that's. I don't know. Is that cringe? That might be a little cringe. That might be a tiny bit cringe. I don't know though. I kind of love it. I kind of love it. Oh man, what do we got 1.6 thousand. All right, we have to get some more money, more income. Let's go down to the horse trader. Oh, we can do another trial as well. But let's go down to the horse trader, see if we can get actual armor for our horse. We don't need that. Why would I do that? That's dumb. It's dumb. No, I'm gonna go and do another judgment after I wash, so I'm not gross doing it. I didn't wash since I got into all those fights on the way here. Okay. All right, let's see. What do we got?
Rook and Lumir, a known pair of troublemakers. Fighting again, are you? What's it this time?
Rook is a filthy, thieving magpie.
This bastard is a fucking liar.
No, you can insult each other in your own time, not mine. What happened?
As you know, Master Bailiff,
Well done.
I've got a daughter, and this Rook here has a son. And like you'd
Okay.
expect, the son is as much of a beast as his old man. He put a belly on my girl, and then turned his back on her.
A likely tale, you lying scoundrel. We're a decent, honest family, sir. But that daughter of his, nothing but a whore, she is. She seduced my son. And what's more, this thieving bastard stole my cow, too.
Enough swearing. One at a time, and settle down. What's this about stealing a cow?
When that no-good son of his wouldn't do the right thing by my daughter, Rook here agreed in the end to give me a cow as compensation for her honour.
Compensation
And I
for her
did.
honor.
Only
Wow.
then, that slut ran off with some minstrel. Where's the
Oh.
honour in that? And
Oh,
besides, it could be anyone's brat she's carrying.
Tell me
Oh,
more
boy.
about your daughter.
Pretty as a picture, and a good lass, though a little flighty. She had her head turned by that coxcomb, and he put her in the family way, and then he wouldn't marry her. And who else would take her with a youngster? So we agreed on a cow in compensation.
That much is true.
Well, okay.
Only, I'm sure you'll agree, Master Bailiff, where there's no honor to lose, there's nothing to compensate. A girl that runs off with some wandering jester.
What could she do when she couldn't show her face in public? That's what you paid for.
Okay, so what you paid for, fair, I suppose. So this is why this is actually a really interesting ethical and legal dynamic where fornication like this, particularly if it was if it resulted in a child, basically you had to pay a dowry. You had to pay the equivalent of a dowry of from the man's family to care for the women. The whole thing was supposed to be as if there was a marriage, even though the marriage were annulled or dissolved because it was not agreed upon, verbally at least. This is actually pretty common, and this is also where in the ancient and medieval world you get things like monetary compensation as a common penalty for rape, because usually it wasn't rape, it was seduction. By seduction, we mean, committing fornication in a way that, of course, will risk children out of wedlock, etc. Mostly that. And so, what goes on here, right? The issue is that we think of rape as primarily a violation of bodily autonomy, whereas they, I think more rightly, quite frankly, saw rape or seduction, I suppose, fornication even really, as a crime against, first of all, her honor, but then also her marriageability, her future prospects as a wife and a mother, her family, right? And so this was the primary crime involved in rape or seduction. They were the same in that respect, because that was the primary harm done, was forcing her to care for your child, basically, or at least potentially doing so. And that is the case, whether it was voluntary, like in ethical terms, or not. And so again, both of these were roughly equivalent in terms of their effects, and so usually they were roughly equivalent in terms of their punishment, because the punishment had to do with righting the wrong done. It was a recompensatory criminal system, and so it's not, again, it's not about the violation of bodily autonomy first and foremost. Yes, that's true, but that's just, I mean, that's assault. It's a very intimate form of assault, and that's a big deal. But that isn't the primary effect of the crime. That isn't the primary harm being done by the crime. That is a psychological harm more than anything else, which, while serious, is not as serious as the full-scale ruining of one's marital prospects for one's life, which is how a woman survives. That's a much graver crime, a much more serious crime with much more serious consequences. Catholic Phoenix says, this reminds me of the people nowadays who say, why do you care about people's sex lives? Mind your own business. Fornication causes a lot of problems for people not involved, especially families. Yeah, of course. And for a broader community, if there are, first of all, if there is if there's no expectation of commitment, not just if there is no commitment, but if there's no expectation of commitment, then that destabilizes society as a whole, which that's not an assignable harm. It's still a bad thing, though. Something that we should certainly discourage. It's not criminal in that case. But it can be criminal if society or members of society are expected to effectively pay the penalty, to pay this kind of a penalty, to provide for the rearing of the unexpected child, say, or unexpected because they're stupid child. Because that's also another thing. Like, I don't think there is anything like a I don't think that accidental pregnancy is anything like possible. I don't even think negligent pregnancy is possible. It's reckless pregnancy at the very least. Like you knew what could perfectly well result because it's the natural end of the action that you are engaging in. And so to think that, oh well, I'm not trying to make a baby. I'm just trying to do the thing that makes babies. Okay, well, you're stupid. Now, it might not be your fault that you're stupid. It might be our modern comprehensive sex education that has brainwashed you into completely conceptually separating sex from childbearing. So maybe that part's not your fault. There could be invincible ignorance going on there, but not that invincible. Come on, you should know better. You know what happens when you do the thing. That's what doing the thing is for. Like, so no, there is no such thing as accidental pregnancy. That is a category error. It doesn't work like that.
What about this son of yours?
Well, he ain't the brightest star in the sky, but he's a kind soul and a good worker. That slut of a daughter of Lumier's got him all worked up, got herself pregnant, and then broke his heart. I talked him out of marrying her myself, because I'd rather give this
Really?
bastard my best cow than my son.
I won't listen to this. That boy is a simpleton and a brute. And for sure, my daughter never went with him of her own free will.
I wanted no more to do with Lumiere or his damned daughter, so I agreed to the compensation instead of marriage. And no sooner was the deal done than the slut ran off. And I want my cow back.
You'll get nothing. A deal is a deal. It's your fault I've lost my one and only daughter.
Okay, so depends on what
I've
my
heard enough
options
to know how
are.
things really stand.
Okay, Lumiere's got to keep the cow. Obviously, it was payment for her losing her prospects due to his seduction. Absolutely. Yeah, she ran off. That was like Lumiere, like the girl's father, right? Said, yeah, that was the whole point of the payment was that she was now basically ineligible for marriage or close enough to it. So yeah, of course.
A bargain is a bargain, whatever unforeseen may happen. The cow belongs to Lumiere.
Thank you, sir. I never doubted your wisdom.
You call that justice? I won't stay another minute in a village where the bailiff takes a hand in daylight robbery.
Okay. I mean, you can leave, I guess. Is your son going with you?
Think of anything I can do with it. Look, it's all about the seasoning. Just roast it with a bit of lard, the same as usual, but add some rosemary and juniper. Rosemary? The best thing for hair. I heard it from a travelling merchant. He had it in Prague and he said it was delicious. All
It is?
right, so I'll try it. And
Rabbit
if
with
he doesn't
rosemary?
like it,
That's good.
I'll lock him in the hen coop so he'll have a proper appetite next time. That'll ruffle his feathers for him.
Don't do that.
Maybe you should have done that a long time ago.
I advise against that. Alright, so I'm gonna do a little travel down to Ratai. Not Ratai.
That's great.
Sasau. See if I can figure out what's the deal with this burial shroud. If I can't figure that out, then I will... I wonder if I, Henry, could find the treasure from the treasure map. Probably not, though. Catholic Phoenix says, I stole a pie from the widow and she died of unrelated causes. That means I don't have to give the pie back, right? I mean... Hold on, let me actually think that through, because that's an oddly interesting question. Like, it shouldn't be interesting, because it sounds really stupid, but it's an oddly interesting question. Yeah, compensation is compensation. Yeah, absolutely. So I stole a pie from a widow, and then she died of unrelated causes. It means I don't have to give the pie back. Well, I mean, technically, no. Like, here's the weird part, because
You fucker, rock punch your gob for you.
this is unwise. Okay, that was dumb. Yeah, I don't think you... So, because it's a widow in this case, like, a widow by stipulation, like, almost by definition, like, cannot, or almost certainly doesn't have next of kin for you to return the pie or fair compensation to. I mean, if she has next of kin, sure, I suppose. Give them the pie or compensation for it. But I mean, if she doesn't have any next of kin because she is a widow, I'm not sure who you can reasonably compensate. Now, I will say that opens up all sorts of moral hazards. There are all kinds of moral hazards involved with, well, you can't compensate somebody because they're dead and because they have no next of kin to compensate. That opens up moral hazards, like incentivizing the killing of people with no next of kin. Killing loners, basically. But I'll also say that that's already incentivized. Right? There's a reason that that random drifters are often considered good targets for serial killers. Because there's nobody going to be looking for them, basically. So this sort of thing is a foe. Interesting. Sort of foe. Yeah. Really? It was a dog? That was it? That was the whole ambush? Okay, fine, I guess. That's really weird. Alright, well, let's move on.
Yeah.
How close am I to Sasso? I'm not even remotely close to Sasso. Okay. Alright, let's go. Anyway, though, like I said, it's despite the moral hazards involved, if you steal from a widow and then she dies of unrelated causes, it's hard to see who to compensate. I mean, her estate, I guess. Whoever she has as beneficiary of her will. It would have to be something like that, because there's really no other alternative.
From the woods, lean and fatty pork, chicken and beef. We have it all.
Because that is who is currently, I guess I should say, who is currently being wronged by your past wrongdoing. Something like that, which is a weird thing to say, but I think that's probably the closest thing that we can say to how any of this works. Because again, remember, the whole point of I think the whole point of justice, of a justice system, say, of punishment for harm done and stuff like that, is to restore what wrongs have been done, to right wrongs, in other words. Hi there.
God save you.
Would you teach me more?
No,
Certain.
I don't think...
I'd like to...
First.
Okay. Never mind.
God save you, Henry.
Never mind again. This is definitely who I need to talk to for this quest, but I need to... Darn, I guess I need to get the burial shroud somehow. I wonder if I actually did genuinely screw up this quest. Like, it is at least possible, or it strikes me as at least possible, but I completely screwed up this quest. I don't know. Maybe I should wait for night for this, but okay. No, Mott. Mott, move. Okay. Fine. Not something I wanted to do. So I'll actually, this is also something I brought up in class as well, oddly, is the point that a lot of wrongs done, say, to the dead. Oddly enough, we were talking about cannibalism in class. What was wrong with cannibalism? It involves, first and foremost, the desecration of something that ought to be respected. Oh, hi, a guard. He's coming by to watch.
I'd like a beer.
I have the...
Lord Almighty, be quiet! Not here!
course
You don't
not.
want everyone to see it, do you? Wait for me at my place. Goodbye.
This is completely ridiculous.
My pleasure.
Anyway, it equates to there. In other words, let me put it this way: there's a measure of respect and reverence due to human bodily remains because they are the remains of a human being, which is a being worthy of respect, that sort of thing. Oh, whoops, wrong button. I'm not gonna bother. Not yet. To do certain things to the dead is not directly harmful to a human being, right? It's not like you're hurting someone. Like, taking the guy's burial shroud is not going to hurt him. Presumably not in this life or the next, right? That would not harm his afterlife in any way either. It's not like God is going to punish him for having his grave robbed or anything like that. But rather, what's wrong here, what's wrong with Henry doing this, in other words, is that I have treated him not as him, but as it. Right? His remains as not as remains of him, but merely treated his remains as if they were a simple object. Right, an object in particular with no nothing I really need in there of his. An object with no intrinsic value. Why does he have a dress in here? This isn't his house, is it? He's claiming this is his house, but it's not his, is it? I have suspicions here. I have some suspicions about this charlatan. Anyway, so it is a lack of respect due to a particular kind of object, broadly speaking, being human remains. It's the same thing as treating the remains of a human being rather than as an object of respect, treating it as food, which it is, which is most certainly not. And that's the primary issue with cannibalism. I mean, there's practical problems, like it's dangerously unhealthy. You'll get kuru, or you could, but also it is a deep kind of disrespect for, hey, excuse me. It's a deep kind of disrespect for a person, for the person whose body it was. That's what's wrong with it.
I have the shroud for you.
Have you now? Good work.
Yes, well, it wasn't easy.
I'm sure. That's also why... Goodbye.
Why what? Achievement unlocked. Level cap.
That's where he lives. Let's teach him a lesson.
He's inside. I saw him go in.
Henry, delay them. What? How? There's a reward for you in the trunk.
I already checked. There's not really anything useful in there.
Break it down.
Oh my god. Oh boy. What reward? Hello. Let's have a word here.
What are you doing here?
He swindled me, too. I came here to throw his potions in his face, but it looks like he hasn't been home for a while. He probably ran away before his trickery could catch up with him.
Bastard.
Yay.
He better not show his face in this town again. Let's go.
Well, that worked, I guess. Great. Well, I'm gonna sleep in his house, I guess. Might as well. I need to sleep, and he's not using it anymore. Bang. Get a nice 8 hours. Before moving on. Anyway, in every ethics class, the issue of why not cannibalism somehow manages to come up. It's a little bit of an odd question for people to ask, but it's an interesting question because it's something that we're all fascinated by, I think, because the modern mind has no way of objecting to voluntary cannibalism, say. Someone dies and bequeaths their remains to someone else to be eaten, for example. It's that kind of arrangement, just like what some modern idiots call what is it? Ethical non-monogamy, which is of course another nonsense term. That sort of thing. It relies entirely upon a grave misunderstanding of the ethics of the situation. Guard. Let's see. Said Ledechko, eh? Let's get my horse. Let's go to Ledechko. So yeah, Phoenix, what'd you think of, first of all, what'd you think of my my point about compensation? Because I think that's actually a pretty interesting issue. The problem of compensating the dead This is also, incidentally, why most traditional societies that deferred to a kind of recompensatory justice saw kinslaying as the worst offense, because you were both the criminal and the beneficiary of your crime in a lot of cases. So patricide in particular. So you would stand to benefit from the murder of somebody who would owe you something if they died, in other words. And it was effectively it was impossible to make just compensation. Phoenix says people who say ethical non-monogamy probably don't believe in objective morality anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. You're probably right. I don't know of anyone who really does, so who believes both of those things. In other words, both ethical non-monogamy and objective moral standards.
I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess. You saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
But I had a divine revelation.
Stop.
That next time I won't be around to pull you out of the shit.
Oh, well, I am sorry. But these things are sent to try our fortitude in the face of adversity.
I'd like to try your fortitude. So what is it you want from me now?
Oh, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I were some kind of charlatan.
I mean, it says so in your description, but okay.
Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls.
So hopefully given more time to think, I would get around it. Oh no, I forgot to... Oh, there was a time-limited answer. Okay, crap. I have to pay a little more attention. Yeah, given a little more time, I could probably figure out something there.
I've made a bit of coin. So, what's needed?
It probably has to do with the beneficiary of her will. Something like that.
Open their hearts and purses.
I'm not going to go around beating people for you.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead, returned from the grave. A corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
Chop its head off and sprinkle holy water on it?
That is the traditional way of dealing with such supernatural manifestations.
Pretty good technique,
you are
honestly.
My trained apprentice, but the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
What, falchions and holy water?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sasau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
Oh, no.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
But that's a sin.
I did just do it.
To help the needy is also a sin. I haven't had a decent meal for 40 days and 40 nights.
I saw you yesterday.
Where your stomach is concerned. Disturbing a grave is a grave sin.
Haha.
Grave is not in hallowed ground. That's hardly worth one Lord's Prayer in penance. I asked a priest once, just out of curiosity.
That's also presumption, but okay.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if
Well,
no one
against
could
you.
connect us to it, wouldn't it?
I'll have nothing to do with it. Give the job to someone with no human decency.
But you're my one and only apprentice.
Ah. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do this one. This is a little too much. Whoops. This one goes a bit far. This quest. I mean, the last one already went pretty far, to be honest. But
No luck at dice. Rabbit claws of all colors, shapes, and sizes.
This goes a bit further. I mean, everything that he's had done so far has been a bit, been seriously untoward. Let's see. Let me go across the water. Let me sell the some of the junk I've got over at the blacksmith. I've got a couple of swords I can part with. Okay.
I hope I can be of some Goodbye.
Okay, that's fine.
Take care.
Sell that. Wait, I didn't give it to him? Alright, fine. You can have it. It's fine. Gosh. Silver spars. Can't believe I didn't even give it to him after all that.
I'd like to discuss the...
About 1900.
Are we agreed? That's two.
Yeah, I know.
Alright.
1800. Alright, not bad. Okay.
I'm just a stupid woman. I don't understand these things. What do you reckon? Did that Badlam Privy Skalitz put an end to the trouble?
No, no. What are you saying?
All the raiding and looting, I mean.
I mean, you? A stupid woman?
Oh, no.
That's the daftest thing I've heard today.
Aw.
I think how you wiped the floor with the miller.
Oh, that was easy. He was talking utter nonsense.
Everyone believed him, though, until you put him in his place.
Even you?
Well, look, you're not a stupid woman, and I'm not the brightest star in the sky.
That's a clever way of putting it. Will you come tomorrow? I have a new song from the peddler. We can give it a go.
I'll be there.
Aw. It was sweet. Let's go back to Privoslavitz. We should have enough money between what's in the chest now after an extra day or so, and maybe if I add a bit more, we should be able to finish up the church repairs at least. And after that, I think we'll continue on doing our various other stuff. Maybe even advance the main plot quest. Go back to Sasau and do some investigation as to counterfeit silver. Now, I'll add pilgrim? Yeah, sure, I'll talk to a pilgrim.
Hey, you bastard!
Nope.
Blood. Christ!
Oop. I still have my one-handed sword. Oops. Oh, it's not a pilgrim. Anyway. Yeah, I will say that the whole, like, what's so bad about cannibalism, or incest. Incest is another one. Incest is another one of those that that the modern mind, the post-Enlightenment ethics, finds impossible to find fault with, even though we know it's wrong. We all know, even just through a disgust reaction, like a natural disgust reaction, we all know that cannibalism and incest are wrong. The trouble is, with a post-Enlightenment, basically an ethic of consent, we have a hard time figuring out exactly what's wrong with it. What happened?
What happened to you?
The farmer threw me out with my little girl. The bastard. He fathered it himself, and then got rid of us so his wife wouldn't scratch his eyes out. So I beg here at the roadside. Nothing else is left to me. Be merciful, good sir. Can you help me, sir? A little coin? They drive me from the village, but if I bring a groschen or two to the merchant, he'll surely sell me a little food.
Don't you want to go to Ratai? There are other refugees there. Someone would take care of you.
I know there are others there, but I think I'll be better off in the woods. Could you
Really?
spare a little change, sir? So I can buy a blanket at least.
Of course. Here you are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you 100-fold.
Oh, I already saw her. Moving on. So yeah, both of those are things that the sort of the modern post-Enlightenment consent-based ethics just absolutely cannot reconcile. Because we all know that incest is wrong, we all know that cannibalism is wrong, and not just because it harms somebody, because sometimes it doesn't. At least not in the ordinary sense. Right? And if, say, the harm principle or the non-aggression principle or whatever is the sole basis of our ethics, then, you know what? Yeah, technically speaking, it's hard to find fault with consensual adult incest where there is no possibility of genetically defective children, say. Sterile adult incest. Or sodomic adult incest, let's say. That's what intentionally sterilized sex is. Phoenix said, I had a discussion with my wife about why incest is wrong. Basically made the argument that that consanguinity is natural, incest is evil. As neutral, incest is evil. And I said, incest is evil because it violates the family. Yeah, it does. It violates the family. How I would put it is, it doubles up on the same on the familial relationship, right? So there is a familial relationship between, say, an adult brother and sister already. Part of the purpose of the act of sex is to form and then therefore consummate a new familial relationship. And so what you are doing is you're violating the already existing familial relationship by trying to supplant it with a new one, or something along those lines. Catholic Phoenix says, basically, it's not about the possibility of children. I mean, that too, but that's like the possibility of kuru when discussing cannibalism. It's a negative consequence. It is not what is wrong with the action itself. It's a negative externality, basically, if you want to think of it that way. Excuse me. technically that to argue, he continues, technically that to argue that it's an issue, genes is a eugenic argument. Yeah, that's true as well. It's about the act of sex between family members that's the problem. Exactly. Right. Precisely. That is entirely the problem. I could build the rat house, but I'm not going to do it now. Let's do the church. Build the frescoes.
There's work to be done.
All right. I'll muster the labor. Come with me.
Yeah. So Phoenix says, I argued that step-siblings, adopted sons and daughters, and step-parents will still be committing incest if they have sex with their step-family members. She agreed. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
We're going to build here?
Yes. Shall we get started?
I would even go so far as to say that in-laws would constitute incest. Or it could. I don't know if I'm committed to that. But, right, so if I have a brother and my wife has a sister and they were to get married, that, honestly, I think I'm not quite sure of this, but under medieval canon law, I think that constitutes incest. And I think that it might correctly, because there's already a familial relationship there.
I'm ready.
I'll just quickly check again that we have everything we need.
I think that might.
We've still got.
I'm
the
pretty
means.
sure that constitutes incest
We'll get
under at least medieval canon law. And I think that there's a good argument that would be incest. Oh man, it's the story of Privoslavitz being cleared out. Cool. I would like something a bit more biblical in the frescoes, but like, because this is very clearly the invasion of Skalitz. It's the story of the game, basically. Okay, here's some biblical imagery. That's good. But here is the attack on Privoslavitz, and here is it being given to Henry from Zudivish. Brilliant. Love it. Okay. Wait, wrong thing. Alright, so I need to next inform Zudivish. Alright, and then find somebody who works with Com. Phoenix says, in-laws are an iffy area. I reckon parents-in-law are a definite no-no. If your brother married your wife's mother, I would consider that to be incestuous. Perhaps. That may depend upon the familial relationship, because I think that there ought to be a sufficiently close familial relationship between in-laws. But in some cases, there just isn't. Right? Like, I'm not particularly close with my sister-in-law, in large part because my wife is not all that close to her sister these days, because they wound up with significantly diverging interests and sort of lifestyle choices and that sort of thing. Not to say that she's some kind of bizarre degenerate. It's just she doesn't have a family and isn't settling down anytime soon, and is sort of doing the whole traveling the world for all sorts of various things, that kind of thing. Whereas we're very settled domestic folk these days, and so there's not a lot of close connection there. Like she recently moved away to DC, I think. And so, again, like I said, it's there's not. If I had a brother, who happened to be in DC or wherever she moved, and they happened to meet and marry, particularly if it were not through us, not through my wife and I, then that I don't know if I would call that incest. I think I could call it incest. I need to go to this quest tipster after I've turned in this quest. And then what's this? Oh, there's attorney tomorrow. We can do that too. But I also think genuinely that our lack of a familial relationship is something something of a defect. It is a relationship that we ought to have but do not. Through sort of joint fault. It's not like I or she or we or she are being like particularly neglectful or anything. It's just it would be, all things considered, certainly preferable if we had a closer familial relationship, I think. Catholic Phoenix says, I get what you mean. It's about the relationship between the two persons. If they're a sister or a parent to someone, they can't be a wife. Those relationships are at odds. I absolutely agree. Yeah, that's I think core to it.
Sir Divish, I finished the assignment you gave me. Pribys Lavitz is up and running once more and making money. And the church
sex is for
as
wives,
good as new.
So to speak.
Indeed?
Well,
That's
husbands and wives,
excellent
but you know what I mean.
news. I can't wait to see it for myself.
Of course. We can go right away.
Take care.
Oh, we're going. Okay, cool.
Welcome to Pribys Lavitz.
Well now, I've heard some reports, but to see it with my
Oh,
own
good, I hope.
2 eyes, beautiful.
Me and Marius did our best.
As you saw on the way here, the village is prospering, trade is booming, and the villagers are doing well.
I saw the new buildings as we were riding in. You've both done a magnificent job. I owe you my gratitude and commendation.
Thank you, sir.
How did you manage it so quickly?
We had to clear the woods and the ruins of the former buildings.
I arranged supplies of building materials and victuals from traders nearby.
Thanks to which we were able to build what you see here today.
And the church here has become the dominant feature of the whole village.
I'm especially proud of our church.
Indeed, you have plenty to be proud of. Thank you both. I can say wholeheartedly that you have not disappointed me. On the contrary, you have exceeded my expectations.
It's been an honor.
I quite concur.
Master Marius, I'd like you to stay on in the village. As soon as things have settled in the province, we can begin with the expansion as planned.
As you wish, my lord.
As for you, Henry, as I promised, you shall continue to have the income from the village, as well as the bailiff's office.
Thank you, my lord.
I thank you, Henry. Few could manage what the 2 of you have achieved here.
Excellent. Let's see what we have as far as money. I don't think we have a lot right now. Oh, we have 3,000. Oh. Maybe I can build something. My income is 1285. I can actually build a proper rat house if I wanted to. Oh, I can't afford it yet. Next time. Tomorrow I can. Butchers already built the smokehouse. Saddler's equipment we built.
There's work to be done.
Oh, we didn't buy the. I didn't build the saddlers. Wait.
Good choice. Come with me.
It's not gonna get me. Hold on. Income of 70, an additional 70. All right, that's not bad. It was probably not the wisest thing to do right now. I shouldn't have done it, but it's fine. It's fine.
Anyway, I showed a couple of pieces.
Yeah, that's not a particularly cost-effective or at least not income generating. It's not a good investment, but it's
We're
something.
going to build here?
Indeed.
Yeah, let's do
I'm
it.
ready.
Why not? Why not? It's not what I was planning for,
I'll
but let's
just
do it.
quickly check again that we have everything we need. We've still got the means. We'll get...
Okay, let's do it. Excellent. Win the turn. Oh, right, because time passes when you're doing this. Darn, I missed the tourney. I was going to go down and do that. Oh, well, it's fine. It's fine. I've done enough tournaments. You've seen me do plenty. Can I buy things from you? Maybe I can buy things from you.
God save. What can I do for you? Take care.
I've already read that. Don't need all that. Comparison. Cavalry bridle. Leather chanfron. Saddles. Chanfrons. No armor. No proper barding. Okay. Fine then. That's fine. Alright, no proper barding, but that's okay. It's a quest tipster in Talmberg, so let's go back to Talmberg, shall we? Then eventually we shall return to Sasau and continue the main story quest with that whole silver thing. And meanwhile, we'll get some nice passive income down up at Privoslavitz, where we can then eventually build ourselves a nice rat house and some other things. Anyway, but yeah, it's also, I will say, a lot of the scenarios, a lot of the situations where it's like, oh well, you know, God, when was it? There's one, I forget who this was. I think it was Wilfred Sellers. I think it was Sellers. I could be wrong. I don't want to malign Sellers if this wasn't him, but I think it might have been. Who came up with a hypothetical scenario of a brother and sister who take various contraceptive precautions, who just decide one day that they'll have sex with each other. And that it ultimately does not affect anything like their relationship. It doesn't go into any sort of, it doesn't actually impact or harm their familial relationship, that sort of thing. And it was just a bit of fun that they had once. And my point of what's wrong with that is, my point even at the time, this was something that I read and disputed really thoroughly 11 or 12 years ago. This was undergraduate. The problems with the scenario were patently obvious to me, was that they were not taking the act of sex, particularly the relationships formed, seriously at all. And if you can, in fact, have sexual relations with someone and have that little impact on your psychology and or relationships, then there are serious problems with your virtue. You're an unbelievably vicious and, I would say so, particularly say a frivolous person, denying key aspects of your humanity, let's say.
I hope I can be of help.
There are big problems with that.
How are the Talmberg folk getting on?
Problems.
Is it peaceful here?
Do you even have to ask? Some poachers have settled in the woods near the inn. A right band of them too. The master huntsman's at his wit's end with them.
Let's see what that's
could use your help.
All right. Let's talk to the huntsman. Cool. Not that I have much of a theoretical problem with poaching, but sort of in abstract legal theory, the royal ownership of such vast tracts of land is questionable at best. Like, I don't quite think that you can own such vast tracts of land under ordinary circumstances. There might be extraordinary circumstances that you have a sufficient army or whatnot, but I do think that under the circumstances that we see here in the 15th century, that ownership over these vast tracts of land is not practical. It's not feasible.
Good health to you.
Unless you're doing something like, oh gosh, I don't know, maintaining the wildlife in the area.
Can you teach me to be a...
Certainly.
I'd like to...
First you have...
Oh, okay. Well, fine.
Well.
How about hunting?
I'd like you to...
Certainly.
I want to...
All right.
Isn't that quite a...
How about we pay 1,200?
Since
It'll take...
Well, 50.
Agreed. Farewell.
Excellent. All right, we got a new main level. We can actually... So here we go. Max level. Manly odor. No, I don't like that. Stamina regenerate faster at night. No, I don't like that either. Wanderer. No, I don't like that. Burger. In towns and villages, you have strength, agility, vitality, and speech. I mean, that's actually pretty good. I kind of like that. I think I only have the trade-off perks left to get, at least for main level one. Savage, that's outside of... Yeah, these are all the trade-off ones. With a low reputation. Local hero. I kind of like this because I have a high reputation basically everywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna go with local hero. Yeah, let's do it. Do I have anything else in here? No, don't believe so. Skills? No, also no. Spurs. Attack bonus. Charisma because of herbs. Cute doggy, charisma +1. Reputation is strong, local hero. Padding and with armor. Wearing clothes you repaired yourself. Nice bonus to charisma. Install odds. Outnumbered, you get a bonus to strength. But 20%, that's actually really good. A bonus to vitality, balanced diet, vitality, and agility. Yeah, a bunch of these buffs are nice. Okay.
Master Huntsman, is there any work for me here?
There's always something that needs doing. You're that Skalitz lad, aren't you? Sir Radzig's lackey.
That'll be me.
I suppose so.
Right. I saw you here shortly after the attack. My word, to get away from Talmberg like that, quite remarkable. It's clear you're not easily scared. So I do have a job for you.
I'm listening.
We've been having terrible problems with poachers lately. In Sir Divish's forests, we've been finding gutted entrails of deer and rabbit nooses all over the place, but no sign of the bastards who put them there.
Okay. And you want me to track down the poachers?
Indeed. Whatever you learn will be useful to me.
Do you suspect anyone?
Well, it's hard to say, but seeing how much harm they're causing, I'd say they're no crofters looking for a Sunday roast.
Okay.
I'll try to find out something about them. Any advice about where to start?
Certainly. Ask around the village. Somebody must have seen or heard something. And it wouldn't hurt to ask in the inn in the glade, the one on the road towards Neuhof. I've heard they serve good venison, and no shortage of it.
That's clear enough. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
This is actually quite the side quest that I didn't pay attention to. Cool.
I'd like to make you an offer. I've been appointed bailiff of Pribyslavitz. We're resettling the place, and I need a huntsman there. What do you say?
Ah, Henry. I'm already Sir Divish's master huntsman. That'd be a step down for me. Sorry, but you'll have to find someone else. Goodbye.
That's a fair point, I suppose. Okay, cool. Am I tracking this quest? Yes. Find the poachers is optional. That's weird. Asking around the village is the first way of doing this. So ask around Talmberg. Okay, let's go back down to Talmberg shortly. I figure we should ask the people who have a connection to animal traits. So, like, ooh, like the tanner over. Fine. Sorry, Shadowmere. Like the tanner over here. I was about to say. It was Stinger, and let's get us a torch. Is this the tanner, or am I crazy? Or is it just too late?
What's it to be?
Can't talk to you. Oh, sorry.
You! What the hell are you fooling about here for? Are you looking for me?
No, sorry. I guess I'll... Hey.
God's blessings. What can I do for you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
What about them?
Well, I wondered if you've got any idea who might be doing it.
Tom of the Bards was mouthing off in the tavern. That's all I know.
Okay.
Good luck then.
Where's the bathhouse? Okay. There's the tavern. The bath's along there. So all right, let's go look around.
Remember
Hey.
you were telling...
Hey, Tom of the Baths. Oh, I should
How's
have
it
just
going?
listened to this. Should have listened to their conversation.
I hear there's been trouble with poachers recently.
I don't have time to talk to strangers. Good day to you. Take care.
Oh. Good. Try that again.
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
I guess it was the way that I was asking.
I heard you were yelling in the tavern that you were off to hunt some venison.
Look here. I don't know who you are, but you should watch your mouth.
I will, don't you worry. So what happened then?
What? Nothing. It was just the beer talking. I got pissed and started spouting shit. Didn't mean a word of it.
Maybe not.
Okay.
That remains to be seen. That'll do me.
Farewell.
Okay. Let me see. Find out what happened to Thomas. I'm just gonna track him. Hey, Bucko. Evening. How you doing? Just gonna follow this guy home. Tom of the Bots. It's a microwavable brown rice. You think it's God's food? Oh, all right. I'm not a brown rice kind of guy usually. I pretty strongly prefer white to brown rice. For almost everything. I will say though as well, I haven't had to resort to microwaving rice of any sort really. Call of Duty Season 3 released today. Didn't know that. Cool. I haven't really... Gosh, I never really got into Call of Duty. I played some of the other World War II shooters. Medal of Honor. Some of the Medal of Honor games, really. But yeah, I was since getting my Instant Pot, I've basically been using it among tons of other things, because it's an Instant Pot air fryer combo, like all-in-one pot thingy. So it basically does every newfangled cooking gadget that you might want, kind of thing. But yeah, it's I use it as a rice cooker as well, which it does a great job cooking rice. Up to like 4 or 5 cups of rice in. Yes, Kevin, riceism. Technically, I suppose I'm guilty as charged. I do prefer white to brown, as it so happens. Anyway. But yeah, the Instant Pot does a great job of up to like 4 or 5 cups of rice in like 12 minutes. Nice. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I can see how that might sound a bit off, but only if you're a psychopath. Which, you know, a lot of people are psychopaths these days. Anyway, I'm just following this guy home to the baths. See what the heck is his deal. Okay, he's in. Rupert. Villager. Is in fact a separate house. It's you, psycho Kev. Thankfully you're not that sort of psycho. You're not the sort to just sling about wild accusations of racism, at least not in any seriousness. Black hood, dark gambeson, leather gloves, dark white shoes, tight black hose. Black hood, dark gambeson. Take off my spurs. Take off my cuirass. My helmet, leather gloves, hauberk, chausses, coif, dark white shoes, tight black hose, Zool arm plate. I am very sneaky. Oops, let's jump. Ooh, new perk available. I'm gonna get it real quick. Because it's absolutely, racism is a massive joke to me. Probably one of the few things I regularly laugh about. That's true. Yeah, I'm with you there. Committing a crime. No, I'm gonna go with dog person. I don't want dogs barking at me. Plus, Henry strikes me as a dog person. Bathhouse proprietor, huh? Okay. Where's Tom here, huh? Wow. That did not help me. Or did it? No, it didn't. I have not played The Last of Us, but I am quite familiar with most of it. Most of the story. I don't know, maybe I should. It does seem to be pretty good as a, particularly as a sort of story-based game. Okay. Nothing of interest here. How do I... Really? What do I have to find out about Tom of the Baths? Anyway, though, no, I actually haven't played, like I said, I haven't played The Last of Us. Evan says, I love that this game is still the one being streamed. Yeah, I mean, it's very long. And not even in a bad way. I'm still not tired of it. And there's still actually quite a bit of story to it, I think. It's been a long runner. You've been away for a couple of months. Yeah, it's we're on what is this? 28, 29? 28 or 29 weeks of streaming this game. It's quite a bit. It's still not the longest. I don't think it will be the longest. I still think that will go to Dragon Age Inquisition. That was in the 40s. That was really quite something. I'm in a private area. What are you talking about? I'm just talking to somebody. I have business here.
Greetings. What do you need?
I'll never scour these
I heard you've got a poaching problem in the woods around here.
In the woods and out of them. Not long back, the bastards hung a deer's head on the huntsman's house.
Oh.
That's pretty brazen of them.
Certainly is. Word around the village is that someone wants to shame him till he squirms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, Kevin, you've been gone a little while. Henry, at this point, is an unstoppable force of medieval destruction. I just hit max level tonight.
Putting a deer's head on the huntsman's house sounds pretty risky. Why would anyone do that?
Maybe they want to show that Huntsman Nicholas is no match for them. And they're not wrong. He isn't the man he should be.
What do you mean by that?
Do you think it was someone local?
I really don't know. All sorts of things get said. Hannikin Hare's back if you listen to some, and others are going on about Tom of the Baths. They swear blind he's got his fingers in it.
And what about you?
It could be anyone. There's more than one that has it in for Nicholas. And who knows what the neighbors get up to by night.
What's so suspicious about this Thomas?
Just that he was drunk and blabbering about how he was going to bring back venison from the woods.
Yeah, Kevin says, I could definitely get on with Second Kingdom Come Deliverance in a different region. Or heck, even a continuation of the current storyline. Well, you're in luck, because they're continuing the current storyline in like a year or two. They're already developing the second game, and it's already in, I think, in full development. And the prediction, last I heard, was like late 2024. They're shooting for a 2024 release date. Which, alright, I will at least at some point be playing that on this channel. Whether it's right when it releases or not, I'm not sure. We'll see. But certainly planning on giving it a go.
Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
He used to be Master Huntsman here a while back.
Really?
But then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the hare had to flee.
Jesus Christ,
it
be
cost him
praised.
the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
Margaret. Yeah, also, my next game on this channel, when we're done with either this or with Andromeda, is probably going to be Hogwarts Legacy, especially if I can get it to run a little more smoothly on my antiquated machine, or if I can upgrade my machine, which is probably not going to happen, unless I get a whole bunch of donations all of a sudden, in which case, great, I'll buy a new motherboard, CPU, and RAM, which is what I need all at once, unfortunately. But yeah, that'll be the that's my plan for the next game I plan to stream. After I'm done with either this, or like I said, if we somehow finish Mass Effect Andromeda first. Either way, Hogwarts Legacy is my next up.
What happened between Hare and Nicholas, anyway?
Those two didn't get on from the start. And then that business with Margaret really set them at each other's throats. But it all came to a head about 15 years back, when Sir Henry of Lipa came to visit.
Sir Hanish's father?
Just so. There was a banquet at the castle in his honor, and in the morning they found one of Sir Henry's men-at-arms in the ditch with his neck broken, Well, Nicholas made sure the blame fell on Hannikin Hare.
So how did Nicholas put the blame
The
on
upbeat
Hare?
music doesn't really
Nicholas
fit with the
always
story.
had a viper's tongue, and events made it easy for him. That evening, there'd been a right falling out between Hare and the guardsmen. Blows were struck. Well, Sir Divish didn't want any ill will with Sir Henry, so he tried to settle things as quick as he could, and Hare got the short straw.
What was going on with Margaret?
Her father promised her to Hannikin, because they seemed a good match. But Nicholas couldn't stomach that, so he did what he did.
And what happened to Hare?
That's just it. No one rightly knows. They put him in the dungeon, but when Sir Henry's men came for him the next morning, he was gone. No one knows what became of him.
Kevin says, nice. I've been curious about that. I enjoy Harry Potter stuff, not like the witch nerd women, but just as quaint entertainment. It is good, quaint entertainment. It's also a good, solid Christian story. At least the actual, like, the books are. I've made the argument before in another video that Harry Potter is a Christ figure. Absolutely a Christ figure. I'll put a link to it in the description. Hold on. As well as the Rothbard article I was talking about in class yesterday. That video is also coming up this week. What article? Harry Potter Christ figure. It was actually quite funny. I was giving a talk at a conference, and some of my students were in the audience. I was giving a talk about the Christus Victor theory of atonement, and how it unknowingly resonates with our post-Christian sort of pagan culture. And basically, I told a sort of deracinated version of the Christus Victor model of atonement. How the hero knows that he is about to be defeated, and so he has one last meal with his friends, and then ultimately goes to face the villain, something like death, and in facing the villain is defeated. He allows himself to be defeated by the bad guy, but though by being defeated and even killed by the villain, he exposes the weaknesses of the villain. He and his friends emerge victorious over the villain. And I asked the crowd, all right, who am I talking about? Shout it out. Who am I talking about? Because I'm talking about Christ, obviously, right? But I'm also, immediately, first answer, Harry Potter. Like, yeah, absolutely. And so I just filled in the details. Like, yeah, Harry goes and he faces Voldemort, and he allows Voldemort to kill him, which allows him to actually ultimately defeat Voldemort through a sort of mechanical exchange. And so, goes through the whole thing. Great. Awesome. It 100% worked. Or maybe I'm talking about Luke Skywalker, and then I go and I fill in the same details, but with Luke Skywalker. He allows himself to be defeated by the Emperor, and so through his love through the love shared between father and son, Vader throws the Emperor down the shaft, and at the time I thought killed the Emperor. Damn it, JJ. Damn it, Jar Jar Abrams. Anyway, that's still what happened. Deal with it. But yeah, Harry Potter is basically a Christ figure. And then the main thesis of my argument there was that so is Thor in the MCU. Thor bears no resemblance to Thor in the Eddas. Thor, the Marvel hero, bears no resemblance to Thor in the Eddas except for superficial qualities. He's a Christ figure. Specifically the Christus Victor model of atonement, which we see with the Destroyer at the end of the first film. So there we go. Anyway, that's that. And I think that Harry Potter absolutely fits that model. Now the new game, I've been doing a playthrough as another character of mine that I've played in D&D before, Timea. I've played her as a bard and as a wizard. She's a very scholarly type, Ravenclaw, very much a Ravenclaw. And so when I play through with you guys on stream, I'm going to be playing a different character, Slytherin, who is a bit more unscrupulous, let's say, and so that allows me to explore more aspects of the game and to get into some interesting philosophical thought experiments and criticisms of some of the situations involved. Playing Soren, who's a character I don't actually know if I've ever played. I may have only had him as an NPC. He's the son of another character that I have played much more extensively before. Actually, the character that I was basically playing when we were playing Greedfall. Stefan. And it says, to be fair to Abrams, the Emperor did return in similar fashion in the real canon. Yeah. But come on, Dark Empire was the worst part of the EU, and so somehow they made it worse when they copied significant parts of it. Ridiculous.
I want to ask about something else.
And I can absolutely say that. I'm getting more and more confident the Dark Empire was the worst part of the EU. I've been recently re-listening to a bunch of old EU audiobooks. I've gotten through Theresa and most of Rogue Squadron at this point. And man, it's so good. It's really good. Theresa reintroduced me to one of my favorite legend characters that I had almost forgotten about, that being Horny Luke, that I keep talking about on stream because I can't give this up. Because of the fact that Luke Skywalker falls madly in love with any female of any species that he encounters. It's amazing. Before settling down with Mara Jade, the woman who tried to kill him, a story that he shares with another real life hero of mine, who definitely didn't kill himself some time ago. Not Epstein, the other odd and eccentric gentleman who didn't kill himself. John McAfee, if it's not clear. Talking about John McAfee. I actually talked about him in to a significant degree, a lot of his weird story, in my most recent video, which you will already find in the description down there, on Prudence and Conscience. The story of how he met his wife is actually very similar, very strangely similar, in a lot of shocking and surprising and almost shocking ways, let's say, to how Luke and Mara met in the EU. So yeah. Yeah, no, it was, so basically, if you're not familiar with the story, John McAfee met his wife when she was a prostitute, and she was being paid to murder him. There was a hit on him, and she was going to kill him, so she got a gun and went to shoot him in the head in his sleep, but she somehow missed, which is why he's deaf in one ear, or he was deaf in one ear until he died. And after she missed, they eventually fall in love, and he goes to get her out of the business, to help her run away, but her pimp was threatening her to keep her in, and so he goes and he shoots the guy. And so that is why till the day he died he was wanted for murder in Belize. This man. And then they got married and lived happily ever after, at least until he was arrested for tax fraud or something, tax evasion or some kind of bullshit crime. He was arrested not too long ago, and was eventually suicided in his jail cell. He is a fascinating person, and that's an incredible parallel to Mara Jade, to Luke and Mara. Sent to kill him, she fails to do so. Partially through a kind of soft-heartedness, he goes and kills the person that is keeping her trapped in the job, and then they fall in love and get married and live happily, well, not happily ever after, but happily ever after for a while, until tragedy strikes, of course. It's great, it's incredible, it's such a good story, and it's a real story in the case of John McAfee. Anyway. Loving the old EU, that's all I can say. So what about this? What about more about hair?
Tell me something about Hannikin.
He used to be Master Huntsman.
Oh, okay. I already heard about that. What about Thomas?
So why do people think Tom of the Baths is involved?
Ah, that's just nonsense. He was bragging in the tavern that he'd put on a venison feast for the village girls. Deer for the deers.
Did he?
I doubt it. He's all mouth and no trousers. But if you want to know more, ask my husband, the innkeeper. I wasn't here that evening.
Okay, I will.
That'll be all. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Now, I will say that is not what we were actually talking about. That's not what made me bring up John McAfee in class. I was talking about something else he was known to have done, which was more of an interesting ethical thought experiment, or at least a case study. That being the time he had sex with a whale.
My humble greetings. How may I serve you?
What do you think about all the poaching lately?
What should I be thinking? If they ever catch them, Sir Divish will have them skinned alive. But for that to happen, our master huntsman would have to be made of sterner stuff.
Do you think Nicholas isn't doing enough?
A master huntsman who lets poachers run wild through his woods? He's useless. He couldn't even stop them hanging a stag's head on his own house.
Right. Folk were talking about Hannikin hair.
Oh, good Lord. People do like to prattle on. Don't you go believing a word they say. It's the back of beyond here, and they'll tell any tale to spice things up a bit.
Thank you, Innkeep.
What about Thomas?
I've heard Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in here.
So he did. He and Jack Piper were bragging about how they'd make a feast for the village lasses, that there'd be venison roast and enough beer to fill a river. And a few days later, they did come and buy a few kegs of beer from me.
Interesting. Who's Jake Piper?
And who is this Jake Piper?
He's Tom's best mate, a decent fellow. They call him the Piper because everywhere he goes, he's whistling on that pipe of his.
Where can I find him?
Well, most likely in the quarry. He lends a hand there to make ends meet.
Okay.
Did they have anything else to say?
Not really. I told him to shut up, or someone would hear him and there'd be trouble.
And what did he say to that?
Nothing. He had more booze in him than the castle cellar. He just hiccuped and slid under the table. Piper took him off after that, thank God.
Do you suppose he meant it?
Hardly. He's nothing but a braggart.
All right. I'd best ask him myself.
Well, feel free to ask, but don't believe half what he says.
Okay.
Thank you, Innkeeper.
Any other
How are the
rumors?
Talmberg?
Okay, that's all. Okay, well, that almost covers everything. Let's see. Jake Piper. Margaret. Let's go to Jake Piper. We already talked to Thomas. He wasn't really willing to share too much. Talk to Jake Piper. Which one is it? It's B, right? D. Where? C and D? Oh, okay.
Hey, you. It's forbidden
Forgot.
to walk at night.
Sorry about the light. Everyone else was walking around without lights. I forgot. Okay. Wait, what? Where's the door to this house? How do we get in? Can't wash up. Okay, fine. Okay, he's not here. He's in through here. Jack Piper. Let's see what he has here. I assume she doesn't have anything of use, but we'll see. No, just keys. All right. Let's just wait till morning. Ugh. Low energy. I need to sleep at some point. Kevin says, apparently the vocation director in my diocese has been trying to track me down while I've been oblivious. Well, I mean, that is a sort of calling, I suppose. I don't know if it's quite quite counts, so to speak. What are your thoughts on the matter? I mean, you probably know as well as anybody might. Well, more or less, as well as anybody might, as far as what your vocation might be. What do you think? Think you might be onto something, or here, let's switch back. Ah, damn it. Wait another hour. I'll need to actually sleep at some point, but I have time. I can get away with not doing it for a little while. Hello. Ah, good morning, Jack. Jake.
I'm at
whichever
your
it was.
service, Sir Knight. I need to ask you something about the poachers.
What? Me? Why me, for Christ's sake?
Oh, come on, you know why. Kevin says, I still don't know. I think I might look into it at least. To be honest, it freaks me out. Well, I mean, any vocation's going to freak you out a little bit to some degree, right? I think. But, I mean, looking into it and the whole discernment process is presumably something that takes time.
They say you were
So,
mouthing off
time
in the
and
tavern.
We'd all had a
exploration.
few ales. You know
Right.
what it's like. The tales get taller.
So you didn't go poaching with Thomas?
My God, no. That would never even cross our minds. Thomas is a bit wild, but I have some sense at least.
All right.
Good luck, then.
I have more or less ruled you out. I mean, I haven't ruled you out completely, but let's see. How about the inn at the Glade? Oh, no, Margaret. I need to talk to Margaret. But Hannikin Hare. Hannikin Hare. Yeah. That means... Oh, look, my horse is still stuck there. That means I need to go back over this way. Hop. Did I just double vault 2 fences? That's a big old oopsie, but pretty cool one. Kevin says, I love certain things about the priesthood. I already listened to people tell me their issues and try to give them sound spiritual advice, so maybe that's confessor material. And or spiritual director material, which is also another significant and important role of priests, although not sacramental. It is certainly an important role. One that laypersons are not... typically not the best for. Even if, as a layperson, I could, in principle, give good advice, right? I am an ethicist, and professionally speaking, I don't have the proper distance from people's lives, at least typically, that a priest does. And so I think that in general, even if a priest is not as, even if a priest may not be as well read, which, to be fair, most of them are anyway, but even if you might not be as, have the same level of professional and scholarly expertise in something like ethics, you may still be able to give better and more compassionate and dispassionate advice, because that's a difficult combination. Hello, Margaret. Can I eat? No, not yet. All right.
Good morning.
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
Very well.
Good.
You're right. And what would you like to know about Hare?
A lot.
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hannikin Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood, but I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want him? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
I mean, that's reasonable, I suppose. Kevin says I worry about my age too. I'm nearly 35. I mean, I suppose it's late for a vocation in sort of abstract human terms, I guess, but not really. Particularly not in our society. In our society, for men in particular, a vocation can really sort of kick in your 30s or 40s without it really being that I guess that much of a problem. And by kick in, I mean either sacrament, whether that's ordination or matrimony. That either of those things by your 30s or 40s is not like, it's not an impossibility. It's not unheard of. Now that said, we do, as far as the other vocation, the matrimony vocation, we have an odd hang up about older men, younger women. But I don't think that that's beyond the pale for the alternative. Like a 30-something or 40-something-year-old man marrying a mature enough 20-something-year-old, or at least woman in her 20s, somewhere in her 20s. I'm not saying like, a just turned 20 sophomore. That's a little weird, but a woman who's mature and established enough. But again, that actually makes a good deal of sense from a sociological standpoint, even though it's weirdly taboo in some parts of our culture, I suppose. Not to push you in the other direction either, but again, just looking through and thinking through some abstract questions regarding the matter.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen. That'll be everything. I'd like to find out about the Pope.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. But go and see Elena if you're determined. That
Elena.
old gossip will tell you all there is to know.
Okay.
God be
Elena. Is that the bathhouse proprietress? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's go and see Elena. Fisherman's wife, or something. Where's she? It's inside, eh? Hey. Hey. Come on out. I want to talk to you. This is really weird. Why am I doing this? Knock, knock. Hi.
Good
This is very
morning.
weird.
I heard there are poachers in the woods round here.
If only if it was just poachers. It's that sorcerer Hare.
What?
He's the one who's been running amok. I said he'd be back, and I said he'd be vengeful, and I was right both times.
Sorcerer. This is getting out of hand fast. It says I would likely have had an easier time discerning if I had joined the church earlier in life too. I was already pushing 25 when I was confirmed, but that's fair. That's a good point, and that's always difficult. I mean, that is so. I always see the sacraments as a sort of step-by-step process of maturing, right? And if you get the sacraments later on, that's a sort of late start on a lot of things, especially the path of the rest of the sacraments. So, and I mean, I think that the sacraments of vocation are really like if not the major step, certainly a major step to adulthood.
Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here one day. No one rightly knew where from. He claimed up at the castle to be a nobleman's son, and so he got the office of Master Huntsman, and Margaret was promised him for his wife. Nobody could have known he was a sorcerer.
So you know that.
And how did his sorcery reveal itself?
Well, he was able to vanish into thin air in the forest right in front of folk. And I've heard it said he spoke to animals, too, though I don't know the truth of it.
That doesn't sound very convincing to me.
That's because you've not seen his marksmanship. It was natural, the things he could do with that bow of his. They say he sold his soul for the gift of it.
I see. How did it go with Margaret?
I'm not one to gossip, but she was a flighty lass in her younger years. She could never make up her mind which one she wanted, the Hare or Nicholas. So in the end, fate decided for her.
What do you mean? What happened with Hare?
Oh, that was quite something. And then some on top of it. Sir Henry of Lipo was visiting here at the castle, and Hare snapped his guardsman's neck with his bare hands. Of course, they found him out. But how do you keep a sorcerer under lock and key? You can't. That's your answer. And that Satan spawn slipped the net.
Oh, well, it's quite a wild story. Any idea why he murdered the man?
No one knows, and most likely never will. But they say he was fully in the devil's power. There was a full moon, you see.
Okay.
Was he actually seen killing the guardsman?
I suppose so. Else they'd hardly know who did it, would they?
That's probably true.
No, it's not. It's entirely possible that they do hardly know who did it. Pinned it on him because it's convenient.
There is one other... Has anyone actually seen this Hannikin Hare? He seems to exist only as a bogeyman to frighten naughty children.
Oh, he exists all right. But he flits around in the forest like a shadow. They won't be catching him any time soon. But Blacksmith's Betty heard some of their goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Cavorting and
Betty.
raising hell. Sorcery! Hare meets up with his sorcerer's apprentices, and they feast in the clearing in the woods. In the morning, they turn into ravens and scatter. Or so she says. But you'll have to ask Betty.
Or so she says.
Who knows what she saw?
This
Or
gossip is insane.
what she was doing there with them.
Very well. I'll ask.
Okay.
Who does Hare want revenge on?
Master Huntsman Nicholas, of course. When the hare disappeared, Nicholas took his Margaret and the huntsman's posting.
So Nicholas came out of it well.
That one always knew how to land on his feet.
Okay.
Thanks. I think I know all I need.
Goodbye.
Okay. So I actually did learn something, at least, that this blacksmith's lady knows something, maybe. Even if it's something insane. Okay, Thomas. Margaret. Blacksmith Betty. Oh boy. Where's my horse? Oh, there you are. Come on, Chadomir. Let's actually ride there, because this is absurd. Alright. Only got a half an hour left to actually resolve this. I'm hoping I can resolve it in time. I don't know if I want to leave this one hanging. This is quite the sordid affair. Pardon me, man. Pardon me, guardsman. Are you Betty? No, you're not Betty. Where's Betty? Oh, next time's over. Jeez. Master Payne. Hold on. A little nasty. Wait, where'd you go? Betty.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
I've got a few questions about these poachers.
So ask.
What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day. Hannikin Hare's back. And putting those antlers on Nicholas's house? Well, we all know what that means, don't we? It's the sign of a cuckold, you mark my words.
Oh.
You mean to say his wife's cheating on him?
All I'm saying is she might be feeling the urge. It happens in the best of families.
That's a really interesting thought.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumours.
Well, now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it, but better the devil you know. And everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
You were singing a different song not long ago.
So? Why do you want to know so much, anyway?
It's nothing to you, but I'm helping Nicholas unmask that local poaching gang.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you know.
Probably wouldn't have said
And
anything.
you also know not to keep anything from me. So, what's the story with that Hare?
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But promise not to tell Nicholas I said it.
I'll do what I can.
Interesting, okay.
I need to let him know what I discover. So, out with it.
It's to do with Margaret, his wife. They say it's all because of her.
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here, because Margaret admitted as much.
What did she tell you?
Interesting.
That he waited in the woods till she came by and they exchanged some words. Words was all she told me. Who knows what they actually got up to?
And what did they speak about?
I don't know. But if Nicholas knew they'd met, he'd most likely kill her.
You're sure she wasn't saying it in jest?
Oh no. Margaret wouldn't joke about something like that.
Who's this Hannikin Hare, anyway?
Hannikin Hare? There was a time he was master huntsman here.
Okay, we got that. That's fair enough.
So what's the story between Hare and Margaret?
It was complicated. He wanted her and she wanted him too, I reckon. At least for a while. But then she hitched up with Nicholas and now she says she never had a thought of wedding Hannikin Hare.
Okay. Fine.
So what went on between Hare and the huntsman?
Those two?
Hare
There
and
was
the
no
huntsman.
love lost between them from the moment Hare arrived. And then Margaret got involved. It was a messy business.
Do you think Hare really killed that man?
Who knows the truth of it now? I did find it all a bit odd. Hare never was much of a hothead. But then again, no one really knew him that well. And Margaret never wanted to speak of it. Wouldn't hear a word about it.
Okay.
That's all I need.
Goodbye.
Wait, can I talk to you about the...
I've got a few...
So ask.
Here we go.
I heard you saw something fishy in the forest.
That's right, I did.
Can you describe what you saw?
It was after dark, I remember that. I went up past the castle along by the clearing, and I saw someone had lit a fire, and there were figures singing and dancing, and I could hear the whistling of a pipe. And I could smell roast meat. It was like a feast of some sort. Only I thought maybe it was some witch's Sabbath, so I was afraid to stay too long in case they saw me.
Whistling, huh?
Did you recognize anyone there? Someone from the village, maybe?
No. Like I said, it was dark. All I could see
Whistling.
was shadowy figures moving around.
Did you hear any familiar voices?
No. But I heard girls' laughter, goblets clinking, a piper playing. It sounded just like any feast.
Where is the clearing?
A short walk north of the castle. There's a track past the woodcutter's camp that takes you there.
Thanks. What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as...
That's
God be with you.
Okay, so it's definitely... What's his name? Tom's friend. Because Piper. Thomas from the bathhouse. Talk to Margaret. We should talk to Jake Piper. We can talk to Margaret again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Margaret knows a bit more about Hannikin Hare than she let on. Apparently. I don't know if that's true or not. It may not be at all. But we should go and investigate just to be sure. Confront her with this information. Oh my gosh. This is madness. I'm not even sure. I'm honestly unsure as to what happened. Where's your wife? She inside? Okay.
God's blessings.
Amen.
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but
Listen, I know the Hare is here, and I know you spoke with him. And if you don't want your husband to find out, you better start talking.
Wait! You can't say something like that to Nicholas. God knows what he'd do.
It's in your hands whether I tell him or not.
All right. What do you want to know?
What did you talk about in the woods with Hannikin Hare?
I see Betty's mouth's been busy.
Don't blame her. I had to work hard to weasel it out of her. Now tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, it seems Hannikin Hare's exile has addled his brain. He told me he'd go off with me, that he still loves me and nonsense like that.
And what about you?
What do you mean? I was so shocked, I couldn't even scream.
Is that all he told you?
He said if I change my mind, I'm to hang a garland of forget-me-nots on the house and wait for him at that place of ours.
Where was it you saw him exactly?
I wish I could tell you. The whole thing was like a fever dream. I almost got lost trying to get out of the forest. Even if I remembered, it wouldn't be any use to you. Hannikin Hare moves through the forest like a ghost. He knows every tree root off by heart.
That'll be everything. I'd like to...
If you ask, may the Lord watch over you.
Okay, hold on. Did I just screw up? Okay. I need to explore the clearing. I need to talk to Jake Piper again. Oh, darn it. I'm over full. Damn. Thanks, I misclicked.
I want to...
Oh, that...
I want you to hang...
But I don't want to go...
You don't have to go anywhere. But
On the way to Ujits. Back then, we used to meet by the great big beech tree, right next to the wayside shrine. There's a lovely view there, you see.
And what time will he be waiting there for you?
At dawn. What are you going to do to Hare?
Never you mind. The main thing is it will all get sorted out. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
I suppose so. Very well, then. I'll hang the garland for you.
Okay.
That'll be everything.
May the Lord watch over you.
Okay, so I can meet him at dawn. Okay, so I still need to talk to Piper again. Check the clearing. Which is all the way up there. Okay, so I need to talk to Piper and then go to the clearing and then go to Anakin Hare. Okay, I can do all this. Oh my god. This is so ridiculous. There's so much to this. I am going to try and finish this before we wrap up. We still have 20 minutes. I think I have time to get it all done. Get all this figured out. Come on, come on. There. Okay. So I have to assume that there's multiple things going on here. That Anakin Hare is back, and that he has been lurking around the woods, questioning after Margaret. But that also, and he probably put the stag's head. Probably. But that also our two drunken chucklenuts over here probably were out poaching. And they did, like... Why is there combat music going on? It's weird. But they were probably out poaching, and they probably did their silly little, like, feast for all of the ladies. Hey. Jack. Excuse me. Excuse me, Jack. I need to talk to you. You're not going to talk to me. Okay. Fine. Let's go up to that clearing, shall we? Over the river and through the woods to the clearing. Over there we go. Alright, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's very dedicated chiseling there. Like, man, he's really going at it. No, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. I want to talk about it. I'm chiseling. I'm very busy. I'm busy chiseling. I don't want to talk about it. No, tick, 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 tick. Nope, tick, tick, tick. Nope, I'm not talking about it. I'm chiseling. I am chiseling, good sir. Please leave me alone. Thank you. I gotta respect it, I suppose. It's a great way of getting out of trouble. Just keep on chiseling. Okay, here's the... Yeah, here we go. Here's the clearing.
Come on, cut face.
What in the world?
Gone weak at the knees, have you? Don't do that! cunt!
Jesus.
Is that the... I'll slaughter you! Kurva elem!
Ow, come on.
Mit keresel? Lehetőbb kibújtál az anyád szoknyája alól?
Ow, jeez.
Well, I never... Go! I lost your ball! Down!
Oh, come on. There we go. This was a very strange encounter. I come out here to try and find evidence of poachers. And what do I encounter? But a bunch of bandits fighting a bunch of humans. Wearing unfathomably good gear, too. Look at this. What is going on here? Bunch of incredibly well-armed and armored bandits. Oh yeah, like I said, Henry has gotten very, very good. Like, shockingly good. Take a lockpick. Shield. I don't need a shield. As you may notice, I've also been quite picky on what things I pick up and loot. Basically, I'm looking for things that are roughly at least 100 groschen per pound, because otherwise I run out of room, run out of inventory space. Let's put away a bunch of those. Oh, hi, cat. That will help a lot. Equip my sword, my bigger sword. Put away these things. More spurs, gloves. Okay. That helped. Alright, what else? Any other baddies? Corpses worth looting. I'm not going to have you hunt a rabbit just yet. I'm going to go to my own forest. So I'm not poaching while I'm hunting poachers. That seems a little bit reverse. Okay, what's going on here? This is definitely the clearing. Right? Is it? Yeah. Was the interesting evidence the fact that there were bandits and humans here? I did not get St. Michael's sword. I have a Magdeburg longsword. I did get Longinus's sword, which is apparently a reforging of the tip of the spear of St. Longinus. But again, I don't think that's actually true. I think it's just a name for a style of sword. And with a bit of mythology attached to it. Okay, so I don't... What you growling at? What are you growling at? What you growling at, good boy? Huh. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I genuinely am not sure. Another cumin. Take your money. Another cumin. Take those. I probably don't need them, honestly, at all. And by probably, I mean I definitely don't need them at all. Yeah, no, this is definitely it. This is definitely the clearing. It's just... there's nothing to investigate here. Is there? What if I sit? Hey, do you mind? Oh, no, never mind. None of that's worth taking. Huh. Well, this was not productive at all. Hey, Dominic. How you doing? Well. Yeah, that wasn't productive at all, really. So I guess I'll go back down to here to Hannikin Hare. Meet with him. Explore the clearing where it all went on. Yeah, I did. I explored the clearing. There's nothing to explore here. That's it. It's...
Yeah.
Alright, whatever. There's nothing productive about video games. Wait a minute! What's this? There's nothing productive about video games. That's actually... I don't think that's quite true. Oh, this is a witch. Okay. This is a witch. I've spoken with her before, plenty of times. I'll ask what she knows about it.
Jesus Christ be praised. How may
Amen.
I serve you?
I was at the Ujit women's Sabbath.
Okay, we can talk about
And
this.
how did it turn out?
The women were making such a ruckus. The woodcutters took them for witches and burst in on them. They meant to kill them.
Jesus Christ. And how did it end?
I killed them all.
Killed them? God almighty. You killed the men who went to see what all the noise was about?
I didn't have much of a choice. There was no talking with them. They were determined to kill the witches. I'm so sorry.
Holy Mother of God, you're my witness I meant no harm. Forgive my sins and have mercy on me in my final hour. And as for you, you'd better go. May the Lord watch over you.
May he have mercy on both of us for our participation in such terrible things. Let's see, what time is it? Oh. I'm gonna sleep until she wakes me up and tells me to get the heck out of her house. How about that? Yeah, no, I think that I've argued this before as well. I'll link a video to it in the description as well. That I do think that that video games can be good moral training, can be good training for virtue. I'm more particularly talk about RPGs, especially tabletop RPGs, but it applies to games, to video games as well. Also, leisure. There's nothing productive about leisure, simply by definition. But that's the whole point.
What are you doing sleeping here? That's not your bed. Get
No,
out.
ma'am, it is not. I will now leave. Yeah. Also, that actually brings up a point about sort of theory of performance, or I guess philosophy of performance, broadly speaking. I argue, not not like that strongly, but I would argue, at least speculate, that I think entertainment from a performance, the fun of entertainment, I think can only really be a kind of externality. It cannot be the intention of a performance. And if it is the intention of a performance, the entertainment value of it will suffer. So leisure is connected to the Latin word scola. Scola, meaning like study. I suppose, but also I'll counter that.
Yeah.
With the classical Greek notion of leisure being the purpose of labor. That leisure is that for which you labor. But the whole purpose of working is so that at times you can do what you choose and do what you wish. For no purpose other than because you wish it. This is clear in Plato, as well as really I think in most of the classical Greeks. Even the Stoics basically had this idea, and you know how laborious they tended to be. I would go on though to say that that entertainment, like I said, can only, I think, be an externality. That entertainment by way of watching something like a spectator sport. Heaven does I work because there's cute nurses there. I mean, look, work is not usually a great dating opportunity, but I guess it can work. Huh. But no, I think, like I said, I think that entertainment, even get married. Well, we were just talking about that, whether he's going to get married or whether he's going to get ordained. It's probably going to be one or the other in the next few years. So you got options. Let's go to About Dawn. Anyway, though, like I was saying, I think that especially in something like a spectator sport, but I think that the same applies to performance in a lot of respects, whether it's what I'm doing right now, or to watching somebody play a game and talk about it and getting enjoyment from me playing it. But then also things like music, right? Music, dance especially, and I even think this applies to theater to some degree, that you, the observer, the audience, will really only be entertained by it if the performers are genuinely enjoying it. And I would say, further than that, are doing it for the purpose of enjoyment. They're doing something for the purpose of performance.
I'm guessing Nicholas won't be joining us. Who the devil are you?
Yeah, I think that it is that a performance can only really be entertaining if it is fun for the performers. And I mean, this should really be pretty intuitive, right? What is the best moment of watching any sports match, game, whatever? In my experience, at least, it's when you get to share in that just joy of a player having just done something awesome, right? They score that goal, they make that touchdown, they shoot that basket that they never thought they could have done, they hit the home run, you just get to see them run it. Just seeing them do something wonderful and love it. That's the best part. The same for music. Like watching somebody or listening to somebody play music and not enjoying it, not enjoying playing it is... there's something dry about it. There's something just unnatural about it. Hey, I'm in Florida. Florida's nice. It's in the mid-60s tonight. Mid to low 60s tonight. It's not bad. I have the window open, I guess. Listen, I don't watch much sports. But that's when there's some. But in my experience, at least, that's when there's that real. It's a moment of camaraderie, where somebody else's joy overflows to you, the audience. And again, this obviously applies to music as well. Somebody who's having a great time playing music is playing the best music, even if it's not like technically as good. It's better as a performance. If you've been to live concerts, this is absolutely the case. You can tell when somebody is just going through the motions, versus when somebody's having a great time on stage. And the same thing applies here, I think. That I'm having fun, which makes you have fun. And if I'm not having fun, then what the hell is even the point? I mean, yeah, I get to talk to you guys, and that's a separate point. But as far as gameplay goes, if I'm enjoying it, that's the only time you're going to be, as far as actually enjoying the gameplay.
My name is Henry, and I
or
work on the
Schadenfreude,
Master Huntsman.
if you're watching
So
me
are you
hate
going
myself.
to arrest me?
I am.
All I ask is that you listen to me first.
Okay. I want to hear. I want to hear his story.
You're going to tell me you're innocent?
I wouldn't presume. I've been poaching on the Divish estate, and I'll take the punishment I deserve. But the crime I was nearly strung up for, that one I didn't commit.
Okay. I mean, I don't think it's worship. I think it is a participation in, maybe it's something religious, insofar as it ties one to a greater whole. But I don't think it's necessarily worship. Live concert is not the same as going to a bar for live music. I think it is. I think it is. Somebody at the bar playing and just like and not having a good time at it is not going to be nearly as entertaining as somebody who is really into the thing and is just in it. I think that I do probably think that entertainment for spectators can really only be an externality. That the entertainment of, unless you are watching it for technical aspects of it, you're enjoying the music because it's played well in particular. You enjoy like what is happening in particular. You like watching the precise gameplay of something like this, or you are purely rooting for a sports team, or you're purely watching the sportsmanship at play. Then the joy of spectating comes from the joy of playing. I think that applies to just about everything. Play is a fundamental human action. It's there's nothing else for which play is, and there's nothing else that constitutes play. Play is just play. It's a thing. It's something that we do. It's something intrinsic that we pursue.
I've heard different things about your crime.
So I imagine. Lukas has told me the villagers still talk of me.
Lukas?
And how did it happen?
It's a long story.
Who's Lukas?
I've got time to listen.
All right. But for you to understand, I have to start from the beginning. I was born as Hanakin Hare of Zalush, the eldest son of Sidney of Zalush. My house became sadly impoverished, and I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher. I see. That's quite a transformation.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
Okay. We're having some minor chair issues. Need to make a quick repair.
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited Talmberg, and the morning after the banquet in his honor, one of his men was found dead.
And didn't they have any cause to suspect you?
That's just it. They did. At the banquet, I got into a fight with the man.
Okay, I mean that's a good enough reason, I suppose.
Why did you get into a fight with him?
The fall of the House of Zalush was the work of the Lords of Lipa, and that fellow
Really?
took great delight in reminding me of it.
Really? Interesting. Dominic says, I agree about play. However, I do not think that what's going on in a Super Bowl is just comparative to play. This goes for all professional sports. There is ritual, ceremony, glory to a religious degree. Perhaps, but... So, yeah, I think that the the competitive aspect of it, the seeing yourself as part of the team, sort of like the team that you worship, for lack of a better term. Worship meaning like dulia, not latria, I don't think. But the team that you worship in that lower level sense, I think that is also its own separate thing from a spectator sport. Competitive sports and spectator sports are somewhat different. Because I think that also applies to storytelling. Like, you can enjoy a story and you can enjoy a story being told, and I think that you can separate those two things. A story can be told and you can like the story. It can be a good story. Like, okay, here's a good example of this. I've recently listened to 2 audiobooks, both of which were Star Wars EU audiobooks, both of which were very good books. They were incredible stories. The Truce at Bakura and Rogue Squadron. I'm not actually quite done with Rogue Squadron. I'm getting close. They're both excellent. However, I'm enjoying Rogue Squadron more. Not because it's a better story, but because I'm enjoying the story. And I'm also enjoying the storytelling. Because the reason for this is that Truce at Bakura, the audiobook version I listened to, was read by an AI. But the version of the Truce at Bakura, the version of Rogue Squadron, was read by a voice performer who puts a lot of spirit into the reading of the story, into the storytelling. That you could feel that he is following the story just like you are, in a way that the AI is not. Well, not just the human aspect of it, but fine if you want. But that's kind of what I'm getting at, is the human aspect of performance is the joy of the performance. It's the enjoyment of it.
And then what?
Nicholas began to pull strings. Several people came forward as witnesses to say they saw me with the fellow later that night.
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lass, you see, and Margaret is his wife today. But back then there was no question which of the two of us would win her. I was the huntsman of noble blood, and Nicholas was just plain Nick. Her father's preference was clear.
I wish I'd stood somewhere else so I could see his face through the leaves.
Do you know who did kill the man?
No. He was found in a ditch with his neck broken. He could have tripped and fallen, all on his own.
And that never occurred to anyone?
A very good point.
But some people swore they'd seen us jostling on the drawbridge. Of course, that was Nicholas's work. He said she hadn't seen me that night.
Uh-oh. Hold on. We good? I seem to have disconnected. Maybe I went too long tonight. Oh. I disconnected and had to reconnect. That was weird. Sorry about that. That was my fault. I mean, it was my computer's fault, but close enough. Okay, so anyway, he was with Margaret after the banquet. I don't know if with carries the connotation that we might think it does. Who knows? But, yeah, that makes a difference. Interesting.
How did you get out of it?
Sorcery? Was it sorcery?
What leads you to imagine I did?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must have escaped somehow.
I'm alive. But my name and my family's name has been dragged through the mud. For me, that's worse than the sentence waiting for me.
If you say so. But you still managed to get away.
Well, it's true. I had the good fortune to escape from the dungeon.
An interesting story.
I can't complain of boredom. The question is, will anyone believe me?
Yeah, but how? Okay.
Even if I believed you, there's no proof. It all happened a long time ago.
I know. But if I didn't believe in my own innocence, I'd have to be crazy to have done what I did.
Why?
If I truly were guilty, why would I risk coming back to Bohemia? I could have died in peace as a rich man in the pay of the Jagiellonians. Only a fool would come back.
Nicholas took everything you had, regardless of your guilt or innocence. I'd say you have more than enough cause to want revenge.
I'm not like him. Anyway, you're right. I don't have any proof of my innocence. All I can give you is my word.
Okay. All right, I believe you.
This is one of the most insane stories I've heard lately.
It's less crazy than some versions of events.
But something tells me you're speaking the truth, Anakin Hare.
Thank you. And if you want to help me, come to the old mine gallery in Broadwoods.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I have a plan, but I need some help.
This is something I almost missed. I am going to definitely do this next week. Basically out of time, but oh man, that's great. So, okay, Dominic asks if he can scour Google for PDFs of books that I want to read. Can I scour Google for PDFs of books I want to read? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like, do you want book recommendations? Do you want me to read books to you? Do you want me to look for books for you on Google? I'm not quite understanding what you're asking for here. Clarify, because I may be willing to do such things. Of any of those various sorts of things. I put some of those away. Put some of those away. All right. Yeah, what do you mean exactly? Ooh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I'm going to drop something like 500. No, I'm going to go put them in the chest at some point, either off stream or something. I'm going to go put them in the chest. Same with these better hunting arrows. I don't need hundreds of these. But yeah, so in between streams, maybe I'll do that. Otherwise, next week we're going to continue this quest line, which is utterly insane. There is a lot going on here. Meet Anakin Hare by the Mine Gallery. Oh, that's like right there, isn't it? Okay, that's right there. All right, well, we'll do that next week. It's already past midnight, so we're already going a little bit late. We started a little bit early. It's already a long stream, so I don't want to go too much later. I am waiting to hear what you have to say here, Dominic. I'd be happy to answer your question and do what I can for you. Just don't quite understand what you mean. If you don't get back to me by the time I wrap up in just a moment, feel free to ask me on Discord. I'd be happy to discuss that sort of thing. No problem at all. Anyway, though, thank you all for joining me. I had a wonderful time. There's been a lot that we've been through on this stream. I'm going to be putting a couple of things that I mentioned in the description below. Some videos of mine, the essay from Murray Rothbard, basically outlining a Thomistic basis for praxeology, like Austrian economic theory. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I'll throw it into Discord as well. In any case, that's about all I have tonight, and I'm beyond out of time. I've gone overtime. I started early tonight. It's quite the long stream, actually, as opposed to normal. So thank you for joining me this evening. I had a great time. I hope you did too. If you want to help me continue doing what I'm doing, if you appreciate what I'm doing and want to help continue it, feel free to donate anything that you can. I absolutely appreciate down there at ko-fi.com/Professor McCoy. Anything you can give, I absolutely appreciate. So otherwise, look forward to the video of my lecture on Rothbard. On praxeology, and its link to Thomistic ethics. That was from my class yesterday. That should be coming up in the next couple of days. Speaking of sports, I also have part of a class lecture on a comparison between American football and classical Greek hoplite warfare. That should also be coming up in the next few days or so, this week, next week, at some point soon. I have it edited. I'm just waiting for a good time to release it. And then I am also hoping to record my class tomorrow, which is on the last chapter of Macinerney, Ethica Thomistica. That is religion and morality, the connection between the two and the differences between the two. So that should be coming up as well. I may have some other things coming up in the next few weeks on case studies or case analyses, that sort of thing, still in conjunction with this ethics course. Otherwise, I have some other ideas, some response videos I'd like to do, some sort of media analytical issues, stuff that I haven't had really time for since I've been putting so many videos out on this ethics course. Anyway, a lot to look forward to. a lot to do. I will see you guys on Monday for more Mass Effect Andromeda, and I will see you next Wednesday once again, right here, picking up where we're leaving off for more Kingdom Come Deliverance. So, thank you all so much for joining me. I will see you all next time, and remember, don't be safe, be well, and more importantly, be good. Good night, everyone.